Today we're learning how to draw a profile, a side view like that. And to be honest, this is not the most popular perspective that I actually draw. Most of the times I draw them like a, straight facing forward or three-quarter view. So we're gonna go ahead and do it anyway and see what happens. And hey, my name is Sandy and this is Sandy Treasures, and I am an artist. I do a lot of paintings like doll versions that I turn into a mermaid or a fairy or something like that. So you can learn how to do something like that to, turn your dolls into characters that you love. And with all of these characters that I love, I actually wrote a book called Trashy Mermaid and the Plastic Pollution Legacy. And each one of the drawings in this book, I painted, I created. Each one of them, I created. Okay. So hopefully you guys would be interested in this book because it's actually, it actually has an important message, okay? This Trashy Mermaid and the Plastic Pollution Legacy. The plastic in our environment is worse than what we think. So I just want to turn into the page. I can't find it right now. I want to turn into a page where I have all my art. These are all the images that I have on this book, and I created every single one of them. So you can learn how to do something like that too. Alrighty, let's get into it. So this is a technique I learned back in the day when I was doing tattoos, because you have to do a lot of drawings for people to see what they're getting into, right? And I also encourage you guys to, take a picture of yourselves. I'm not really crazy about having a picture of myself displayed all this time. And I'm sorry about the light, but this is about the best I'm going to get it right now. Okay, so using a light color and a darker color pencil. So here we go. What we're going to do is we start off with kind of like a round shape, like an egg shape, all right? And then from here, what we do is we want to divide it into thirds, okay? 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. So 1/3, let's start over here. 1/3 would be about here, another third would be about here, okay? And then we're going to be looking at the image that we have here, and I can see that, oh, and by the way, okay, let me not skip this, okay? So half of this, we want to split this third, and this is going to be for eyes, all right? So eyes. And then we're going to split this, and this is going to be for lips. Okay, lips and eyes. Okay, so now we proceed. So here we go. Knowing that this is the eye area, we're going to do this little dip, and then we're going to do the forehead, which is almost formed already by the egg shape. I have a kind of like a real straight nose. And then the bottom, okay, the nostrils are going to be the division here of that 1/3 division. Okay, that's where the nostrils are going to go, right? So we have this, and then we have nostrils, boom, like that. And then we have that. And here we go down a little bit. Now we know that this is going to be the lip. So we want to do a little bit of this, and then we want to do, oof, looks like I have that. And then it looks like I have that. And the chin part is going to be the bottom of the egg shape that I drew, right? Now, I know that I have kind of like I don't have a corner here, but I'm going to exaggerate this part, okay? Why? Because I can, because I'm drawing this. This is my project. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a corner here, and I'm also going to pull back this part of the neck, right? All right, so I got that part, and now I want to open up my eye like that. I like exaggerating the eye a little bit more, like this. Okay, so I know this image kind of looks like she's pissed off. We want to make her a little bit happier. All right, so, and I also have a little bit of baggy eyes. I don't want to exaggerate that part either because this is a doll version of me. And I want to beautify it, right? Make it a little prettier. So also this third here is going to be the top of my eyebrow. All right, so there. And then another aspect that I like to do is big eyeballs, but I don't like to touch this part here. All right, so this is all done with a lighter color pencil. And then I think I need to pull out the lip a little bit more, and then like that. And I'm going to give, I know I'm not smiling, but this is my project and I can make her smile if I want to, right? Boom. So now here comes the hair, and we're going to do the hair kind of like that. I have this little hairdo thing going on. And then the ear, I always want to line the ear. I usually line the ear with the top of my eyelids, and I see that the side view is a little bit different. I also am facing a little upwards. So let's stay a little consistent and do kind of like that, like the top of the eyelid, line it with the ear, just like I've been doing all this time with other projects. And then the bottom seems to be lining up with the top of my lip. So right about here. All right. I think with my doll versions, I would have lined it up a little bit more, like make them smaller, because you know what? Let's do that. I do my doll versions all the time, and this is not a realistic version. This is a doll version. All right, so there we go. So there's the hair, there's that. Now let's go ahead and draw in a little bit of the hair, and let's make sure it looks a little bit more accurate, a little bit nicer. And here I have a lot of curly hair back here. And then there we go. We want to make it look friendly too. You know, sometimes when I'm drawing, I kind of like get this angry look on my dolls. So I don't want that. So whatever you have to do to make it look friendlier. So sometimes it can be like pull the hair line a little bit more in to make it look nice and natural. Sometimes the eyebrows need to be a little bit more elevated. In this case, this is okay, I think. The eyes being bigger also make a friendlier face. I know that. Okay, my nose here. I think we got it. There you go. That's it. Boom, boom, boom. Normally, if you're going to shade, you want to like find that, which I'm not really like seeing it here, but it would be kind of like there. So it would be shading this area, and then it would be shading this area. And since I'm doing a doll version, I am not going to exaggerate these lines. I do like making a little bit of this line, the eye bags, just a little bit, not as exaggerated as I actually have them. All right, and then maybe a little bit like that. Okay, so now with the darker color pencil, I come in and I may make some micro corrections. So here we go. I do this, maybe a little bit more nose here. All right. You kind of like refine with the darker color pencil. You make some micro corrections. And if it's right on, then you don't have to make any correction, right? The eye, maybe I need to pull the eyelid a little bit more forward. Like that. And like that. And then here goes the eyeball. And this is exaggerated. It's the way I would like to see it on my paintings. And if it doesn't look right to you, you know, of course you can make your adjustments. I think that this needs to be a little bit more elevated, like more like right around there, to make it look also friendly. Okay, so whatever you have to do to make it look right. Sometimes, I mean, this is the reason why I like using the lighter and the darker color pencil, because I can make all my corrections that way. And I don't use the eraser with this. It's fun. It's a fun little way of doing it. Here I go like this, like that. And I'm not really trying to make this look like as old as I am. I am a little older. I'm trying to make this look like a doll version of me. And I don't know if I'm pulling it off right now, but okay. But there are ways of beautifying this, okay? So let me show you right now. Like it looks a little, she looks a little old, and we can correct a few things. So here we have, there you go. And then we have this, okay. And we can just shade in, and then we also have, okay. We have a little shading there, a little shading here. All right. And then the rest would be like the hair. There you go, pull back. It would be fun to see what you guys come up with the version of you. A little drawing of you. This is just practice. Okay, I don't get to do all the hair there. And there you go, some curls. I like to do just a little bit of shading to kind of like show me where things land. A little bit of shading right here to define the jawline. Right? A little bit of this. And then here on the eyes. Okay, so this is one of the things, you know, like shading the eyes, and then to make it look like the eyeball itself is round, right? So the shading is kind of important. But again, this is just a practice. So we're not going in for accuracy. We're just going for establishing, like mapping out the face, right? Now, as you get older, the shading happens to be a little different, but I know that I don't want to get that older look like I have. Nothing wrong with it, but I create my doll versions here. So I'm going to shade it just a little different, the way I know by memory how to shade my dolls. So here, a little bit on the darker side, a little bit of this. Underneath the nose, we're going to shade a little bit. Here, we're going to shade a little bit, okay? And those are basically like really the main shading areas to establish your drawing, like the mapping of the face. All right, so we got that. Probably a little shading right here throughout the entire ear area. You can soften it up like that. This area here is going to be a little bit darker because all my hair is picked up right there. And then we can pull out some lines like that. Like that, like that. And I don't have the space to do the rest of the hair. But all we're doing is establishing, like mapping out the face, right? Here we need to go a little darker. And then, okay. And I would say a little bit of this here. A little bit of shading right here, and there you have it. So now we can beautify. Let's say the eye looks a little bit like a kind of froggy. So what I would do is, you know, like right away you can just camouflage that with some eyelashes. All right, like that. More of a bedroom eye type of thing is what I want to go for. And then a little bit more shading right there. And then, of course, you know, if you do that shading right there, you probably want to soften up everything else around it. And then I can also do some eyelashes down here. All right. You can probably just shade a little bit the lips and leave a little bit of a highlight right there. So shade in, but just leave a little bit of a highlight. Make this a little darker here. And then I probably need to throw the lip a little bit more forward. Notice that. All right. So there. Basic drawing of a face going sideways, right? All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And of course, remember to subscribe, like, and hit the notifications. I'll see you next time. All right. Bye.